Hey guys, and welcome back to the Spanish language section of my language learning blog. Bienvenidos otra vez a la sección de mi blog para aprender el idioma español. This is Brendan, and this is the last of my sections on my various language learning resources, books, that I've studied over the past month and a half in my effort to bombard my brain with conversational Spanish. So let's just jump right into this. I'm going to have to actually do two sections, two short videos for this particular section. These are the various teach yourself Spanish type books that I have designed for people who are not taking classes using English to learn Spanish. I'm probably going to divide and do a short video on this stack and then another short video on this stack, because I think otherwise it'll be like a 20-minute video. I'm going to give you guys a review of each of these books, explaining what I think is good and what I think is not so good about these, so that if you decide you want to use one of these resources, you'll be well informed. So let's start with the right stack here. This is Speak, Read, and Write Spanish in 10 Days. This particular book is from the 60s. This is designed supposedly to teach someone from scratch how to become somewhat proficient in conversational Spanish in 10 days. Really, the concept of that is utter bullshit, but this would make a pretty good resource for somebody to read whenever they want to, when they are already at a high advanced beginner or low intermediate level. Basically, it's just a bunch of alphabetically organized concepts of how the Spanish language works. There's no rhyme or reason to it because it's alphabetical according to the English concept behind the Spanish, and it has nothing to do with the way the language is put together. It has nothing to do with anything orderly that might help somebody to learn this language. So my advice to you guys is, unless you can get this book for like a penny plus shipping like I did, this is a bullshit book. It's probably a reason why it's no longer in print. It's from the 60s. It's a good resource if you happen to have it. Otherwise, there's no reason to have this book. It's worthless. This, on the other hand, is quite a good book. This is a whole series on European languages. You can learn Spanish in a hurry. You can learn French, learn Italian, learn German in a hurry. These are all really great. And basically, the title speaks for itself. Grasp the basics of Español pronto. It's nice. It's mass market size. You can also get this one very easily for 1 penny plus shipping on Amazon. I think I paid a penny plus shipping, and it's brand new, basically, my copy. And basically, this book is mainly written in English with, if you compare the amount of English language to the amount of Spanish language in this book, I would guess it's 75% written in English with 25% Spanish. And basically, it just explains kind of like shortcuts that you can use to get around in basic Spanish with very limited knowledge of the language, how it works, some suggestions of different kinds of Spanish phrases and things you can use when you're asking how much something costs, etc. Does a pretty good job of explaining basic conjugations of AR, ER, and IR verbs in different tenses, but very, very basic, like present tense, immediate past. I don't even know if it explains the imperfect. It explains the future, certainly explains using ir plus form of ir in the present conjugation plus the future, like voy a hablar español. I'm going to speak Spanish, as opposed to hablaré español or something. I'm going to speak Spanish that way. But anyway, good book. I recommend it a lot, especially since you can get it for a penny plus shipping online. And even if you pay full price at Barnes & Noble, which you certainly can for this book, they probably have 20 copies of it on the shelf right now as I'm speaking, you can get it for $7.95 plus tax. This is a book that's out of print, but this series is pretty good. It's Living Spanish. This particular one is from the, I think, late 60s, early 70s. The orange color of this whole series. They also have Living French, Living German, and Living Italian. These are charming. Unfortunately, the binding in my copy is falling apart, but basically the way this particular book is organized, let's turn to chapter 1 and I'll show you guys just right from the very beginning. You get a little immersion passage in basic Spanish, and then the rest of each chapter is devoted to basic grammar and points and vocabulary explaining the immersion passage. So this particular book would be very good if you have a language trade partner from Craigslist, or if you have someone in your family or friends or whatever who speak Spanish fluently and read Spanish fluently, who can help you with the pronunciation of this, because this is an older book. It doesn't come with CDs or DVDs or anything like that, and you want to make sure you're pronouncing the Spanish effectively in a way that a native speaker can understand you. For example, the way I pronounce my Spanish, which is not great, and my accent is pretty piss poor, as I love to say, but a native speaker would absolutely understand me without any problem. They would just say, oh, listen to the stupid gringo. And that's fine, but I would be able to communicate, and that's really all I'm trying to do. So to give you an example here, this is chapter 1. It's called El Campesino. Un campesino va por el camino. ¿Quién es el campesino? El nombre del campesino es Ramón. Ramón trabaja mucho en el campo. Vuelve a la aldea donde vive con la familia. Un buey va al lado del hombre. Right? There's a peasant in the country. He's walking along the path. Who is the peasant? It's funny that nobody even uses that word these days. His name is Ramon. Ramon works very much in the countryside. He is returning to the village where he lives with his family, and a donkey is walking by his side. And then you get a little bit more, and it breaks down later on. You see there's very good explanations on these particular pages, for example, of relative pronouns, the use of que, like el hombre que está aquí, the man who is here, the use of quien, el hombre a quien he escrito, the man to whom I have written, etc. You go on and on. There's some nice exercises here. This would be a great book to work through with some friends or Craigslist trading partner. Here's Beginner Spanish from the Teach Yourself series. There's another Teach Yourself book in one of these stacks. I think in this stack. This is great. This one you don't even need a partner. You can just teach yourself very, very basic Spanish from this one without even having somebody there with you. You may get the pronunciation wrong. It does have a bit of an explanation at the beginning how to pronounce Spanish, how the vowels and how the consonants are pronounced. But if you had to pick a let's start from scratch resource that you wanted to learn the most basic things about Spanish, if you're going on a trip and you just want to ask somebody how much does that cost or whatever, this is absolutely the book to get. I got my copy for $1 at the Strand. I'm sure you can get this for 1 penny plus shipping on Amazon. The Teach Yourself series is wonderful. I can't recommend it enough. This is the Spanish Step by Step by Charles Berlitz. Basically, if you're an absolute beginner and you know nothing about Spanish, but you want to learn how to pronounce the language in a way that a native speaker will understand you, this is the book to get. If you don't get any other book, this is the book to get. Because all of the books in this series, Spanish Step by Step, German Step by Step, Italian Step by Step, and French Step by Step, they take you through and use English phonetic pronunciation for everything in here in Spanish, and you can't help but pronounce it correctly. For example, let's just turn to a random page here. This page is called Professions and Occupations. This is Step 9, Chapter 9. So you see here in Spanish, it says, let's see if we can get close enough to this. You can see this, para saber el puesto o la profesión. But suppose I didn't know how to pronounce that in Spanish, then I read, para saber el puesto o la profesión. Right? It's horrible. But a native speaker would absolutely understand you because it's pronounced out phonetically in English, and all you have to do is add the accent, and this book will actually help you to speak basic Spanish. It starts with the most basics, like the words for I, me, you, this and that, whatever, and by the end you're talking about, the things you like to do in your spare time and what color something is, and it even introduces future and past verb tenses and stuff. Similar to that is the Berlitz Self-Teacher Spanish. This is a great series. I actually have a copy of this in every single language that Berlitz teaches for the self-teacher. They offer this series in Spanish, French, German, Italian, and Russian, and Hebrew. And I have one for each. The Hebrew one's a bit challenging for my level of Hebrew, but the Spanish one is dead on. I can't recommend it enough. And basically, this is fun. It's got like really cute little illustrations. This was written in the 50s. It's very 1950s. Like everything about this book screams 1950s. And it's just really fun. I really enjoy working with this book. For example, we just happen to open to lesson 6 here. There's a cute picture of Señor Berlitz. The chapter is called ¿Cuál es? Which one is it? And then you get este sombrero es negro, ese sombrero es verde, aquel sombrero es gris, ¿qué sombrero es negro? And also this uses the same patented let's spell it out in English phonetic pronunciation, so that even if you don't know how to pronounce Spanish, you could say este sombrero es negro, right? My roommate's coming down the stairs here. He's probably going to wonder why I'm talking to myself. I'm filming a video for my blog. Oh, that's fun. Anyway, and the cats are running by. There they are. I recommend this book highly. This is a great book to learn Spanish from. If you had to pick two books to learn basic Spanish from scratch, the two Berlitz ones are excellent. You can also get them all over the place at used bookstores for like $1, and you could certainly get both of them on Amazon for 1 cent plus shipping. Last but not least in this particular stack is the Latin American Spanish Teach Yourself. This is a great book. I also got this for $1 at the Strand. This particular book does a good job of having a chapter for each of the different Latin American countries. I won't say all of them. I don't know if it has that many separate chapters on different countries, but it certainly has at least 10 different chapters that deal with at least 10 of the different Latin American countries, with customs and different vocabulary that you might run into, different slang, different uses of terms for different fruits and vegetables, things like that. This is a great book. It's definitely not for absolute beginners, although it could be, but you kind of need someone to help you a little bit with the pronunciation. This would be an excellent book to work through with a Craigslist or other language learning partner. I really recommend this book. This is one of my favorites. I'm definitely going to go back to this one again and again. Thanks for watching. I'm going to do another video just a second on the other stack of similar books that I have.